Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of TC Talk. My name is Therese, and thanks for stopping by. So I have an interesting topic of discussion for you today, and I think it affects me personally because not only as a consumer of film, but also as an aspiring filmmaker myself, and it's all got to do with this subject of diversity and inclusions. And yes, don't you just love talking about diversity and inclusion? Don't worry, you don't have to talk about it. I will talk about it. And the reason why I am talking about it is because there is some new rules. We've got some new rules. New rules set by the Oscars or the Academy Awards, as set by the New York Post. Let's get into it. Oscar voters rip into ridiculous new diversity rules for Best Picture. So as you can see, this article was released July 16th of this year, so very recently. If it were released today, The Godfather would possibly have no chance of winning a Best Picture Oscar. And that's because the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences is beholden to new inclusivity standards. Oh great. Starting with the March 2024 onwards, movies will not be considered for a Best Picture nomination unless they meet two of the four standards. One of them is featuring a lead or significant supporting character from an unrepresented racial or ethnic group, have a main storyline that focuses on unrepresented group, or at least 30% of the cast comes from two or more unrepresented groups. And these groups, for now, are women, ethnic minorities, LGBTQ. They probably will add the plus of to us. That is a whole long discussion about what that group is. Or the disabled. A full outline of the standards can be found on the Academy site. So here's the site. So I'm just going to expand this a little bit. So as you can see, at least one of Standard A, on-screen representation, themes, and narratives. To achieve Standard A, the film meets one of the following criteria. Lead or supporting actress needs to be from an unrepresented group, so Asian, Hispanic, or Latin X, Black, African American, Indigenous, Native American, or Alaskan Native. Why is that distinct? Middle Eastern or North African. Oh, so I guess we're not using the West Asians yet. We'll keep on this. Wait, North African is different from Black African American? Except from Africa. Oh, okay. Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander. Okay, so they haven't actually gone to AAPI. I'm not an American, so you can, that's another discussion. Again, other underrepresented race or ethnicity. Oh, I wonder who left there in that group. I know, I'm being a little bit snarky, but allow me to continue. General ensemble cast. So if it's not the lead, it's one of the cast. At least 30% of the actors in secondary or more minor roles are from at least two. Oh, okay. So no, I guess I can tell what they're trying to do. They're trying to not make them the token. So maybe two will be better. From two of the following underrepresented groups: women, racial or ethnic group, LGBT. Oh, there's a plus. Okay, people with cognitive or physical disabilities or who are deaf or hard of hearing. Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to see how that makes it different, but it's not physical, it's a cognitive. So where do the blind people sit in this instance then? Is that a physical disability? I know, I'm being snarky. Sorry, I'll move on. Creative leadership and projecting. Okay, so if they're not in front, they're behind the camera. At least two of the creative leadership positions and department heads: casting director, cinematographer, composer, costume designer, director, editor, hairstylist, makeup artist, producer, production designer, set decorator, sound, VFX supervisor, right off from the following underrepresented groups. How many? Oh, at least two. Oh, okay. Women, racial, so basically similar to one. At least one of these positions must belong to the following. Okay, so you need two from this and one from here, at the very least. So one from at least ethnic minority group is off the same. Okay, other key roles. Okay, at least six other crew team and technical positions, excluding production assistants, are from an underrepresented racial or ethnic group. These positions include, but not limited, first aid, gaffer, script supervisor, etc. Overall crew positions. At least 30% of the film's crew is from the following underrepresented groups. Blah blah blah. So same as above. Industry access or opportunities. Okay. So if they're not in the crew, they have paid apprentices. Okay. So let's see. film distribution financing company has paid apprentices or internships that are from the following underrepresented groups. Okay. Training opportunities. Audience development. Representation in marketing, publicity, and distribution. Oh my lord, this is a very long list. Okay. The studio and film company has multiple in-house senior executives from among the following underrepresented groups, must include individuals and racial of ethnic groups. Oh, okay. On their marketing, publicity, or distribution teams. I see. Okay. All categories will be held to the current, other than best will be held to the current eligibility standards. Right. So this is starting in 2024, next year. Right. Okay. It's got some voting members of the Academy up in arms. It's completely ridiculous, one director turned to the post. I'm for diversity, but to make you cast certain types of people if you want to get nominated, that makes the whole process contrived. The person who is right for the part should get the part. Why should you be limited in your choices? But it is the world we're living in. This is crazy. Richard Dreyfuss concerningly agrees. Richard Dreyfuss. I have Facebook. Apologies. Richard Dreyfuss certainly agrees. In discussion with new standards of inclusion, with the firing line on PBS last month, the veteran actor blasted the rules. They make me vomit. And I'm guessing that's Richard Dreyfuss. There he is. Describing movies as an art form and an art form of commerce, the close encounters of the third kind, and to continued. Oh, is that where he's from? No one should be telling me as an artist that I have to give in to the latest, most current idea of what morality is. And that, I agree, is, I think, a bigger picture that I think a lot of people are missing, because you are beholding rules to the current year. How long is that gonna last? Place your bets. 3, 2 years, 5. We shall see. An industry insider related to the post. Their goal is not to disqualify any films, but rather to celebrate and encourage progress towards greater representation and inclusion in the industry. So let me know your thoughts on this, my dear audience. Do these new rules actually do that? Do they celebrate and encourage progress towards greater representation and inclusion in the industry? Do they? And I suppose that leads to another question, which I probably will reiterate before I finish reading the rest of this article. Is there still any value in the Oscars in the first place? That is some food for thought. And I'll leave my final thoughts once I finish this. So, one of the Hollywood's biggest producers told the Post that very few people in the industry favor the new rules, but unlike Dreyfuss, they don't speak out for fear of cancel culture. I believe that. Everyone thinks the Academy went too far. It's ridiculous to tell us we have to regulate our work, he said. We talk about it amongst ourselves, but it's not worth speaking up publicly. I suppose not. That money does come in, doesn't it? The last several years, the Best Picture winners have already met the criteria. So yes, this year... Was it this year? This year, 2023. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Led by Michelle Yeoh, leads a mostly Asian cast. Prediction, my dear friends, that term Asian will be out of date in the current in the few years for a whole lot of reasons. Let me know your thoughts on that as well. Coda, which won in 2022, centered around a deaf family in Gloucester, Mass. No Man Land from 2021 revolves around Franklin McDonald's widowed character who travels to the US in a van. Parasites, does anyone remember that? Focuses on 2 South Korean families because it was probably shot in South Korea. The 2019 winner Green Book was controversial because it stood accused of spoon-feeding racism to white people, but would still make the cut. But other films nominated this year possibly would not qualify. All Quiet on the Western Front were not nominated, said director of the World War I film with a historically accurate white male cast. In terms of Elvis, Elvis, there are probably enough women and minorities to hit 30% and qualify. Jim Piazza, co-author of Academy Awards, a complete unofficial history, told the Post. But many of those people are in dance and party scenes and on screen briefly. How they count will be difficult. There will be a lot of caveats. Going further back, think about Schindler's List. Should that not have been nominated since there were no non-white people in the primary roles? Asked the director, referencing the 1993 Spielberg movie, which largely features white male actors. I wonder if Jewish people will count for underrepresented racial ethnic groups. But we up the Academy to figure it out. Yes! Where do Jews fit in, or are they like Schrodinger's minorities or people of color? Depends on the narrative, doesn't it? Other macho classics that these days would likely fall by the Best Picture aside, Gladiator and All the President's Men. According to Newsweek, past nominees Ford vs. Ferrari, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, American Hustle, and Joker would not have cleared the Best Picture bar. Imagine if great films were not made because of studio corporate mandates that every film has to conform to. Inclusion is standard for Best Picture nomination, the director said. Besides casting, a film can meet standards by having people from underrepresented ethnic or racial groups involved in marketing creation of the movie, paid internships and training opportunities, and working on publicly marketing or distribution. Still, a film critic and historian who's a member of the Academy describes the new contributor as bold and audacious, and it is also groundbreaking in a way that can be tough to navigate. I've never witnessed such a thing happening in the world of arts. He told the Post. I've never seen restrictions out on what you can do if you want to receive a certain recognition for one's arts. First time. First day. I'm sorry, but it's just, I don't know. I feel like in the world that I inhabit, this is not very new, but let's just keep going. Looking forward, he acknowledges that some of the most talented people in Hollywood may forego Oscars recognition in order to see through their visions. If a truly outstanding film comes along that does not meet those requirements for a Best Picture nomination, then the producers will have accepted that, the critic said. A veteran Hollywood executive told the Post that he's ready to go that route. You have to make the best movie, the exec said. I want to be inclusive, but I don't want to be put in a person from a certain ethnic group who doesn't belong there because of a story being told. And I don't want to make a movie with an LGBT character who does not make sense with the narrative. You can't do this without hurting the movie. It's ridiculous to be told what to do at the expense of getting people into movie theaters. We're still asking that question. Said a journeyman screenwriter, everyone should be inclusive for good reason, but everyone should also have reasons for believing in meritocracy. I probably said that wrong. Meritocracy is probably how you pronounce it. Based on merit. Who believes in that still? This person for one. A whole nother discussion. A former top studio executive explained to the Post that he left his position a year ago in part because of diversity run amok. I knew this was coming, obviously, he said of the 2024 rules, but they've been going overboard on this, in my opinion, for quite some time. Casting is getting less organic, more about checking the diversity boxes. It's hurting the product, not helping, and I don't think it'd be good for anyone in the long run. Adding the executive, I think the Academy got itself in the corner with inclusivity and now it can't get out. What do you think, my dear friends? What do you think of, my dear friends, about the Oscars? Question number 1. What do you think of these new rules? Question number 2. Question number 2. Do you still think the Oscars has any value now in the realm of filmmaking? Does it have any value? Does that statue, among other things, and the awards, what value does that have to you on whether or not you determine watching a movie? For me personally, very little. Because I am a creative and I'm going to tell a story no matter what. No matter who's in it. And I will tell you this. I refuse to be a diversity hire. And I'm not going to be chosen simply because of the color of my skin, my ethnicity, or the fact that I'm a woman, or what my genetics would have you. If I get picked, I want to get picked because, my skills and I'm fucking good. No questions about it. And I will make that abundantly clear, and I will keep making that abundantly clear. But these are the rules as we see it. We shall see where this goes. Do you see this change? Do I see this changing? Probably not. They probably will run it for the next year and see where that tracks. And but they're not this, Is it their goal to get more people back into the movie theaters post-COVID? It's an interesting, fearful thought, but I will leave it there. Let me know what you think, and I shall see you next time.